guys, we're back. Now we are in reading, okay? So you have a very nice reading, which is Curse of the Ancient Tomb. Okay, what's about this? Remember we have been reading about Cleopatra and things in Egypt? Okay, this is very related, okay? So first of all, what is a tomb? Yes, a tomb is a place where dead people rest. In ancient Egypt, if you were very important like a pharaoh, your tomb will be a whole pyramid. And the pyramid will be made so you will not be disturbed in your eternal sleep, okay? So, what kind of things do you think a pharaoh, an ancient Egyptian king, might put in a tomb? Remember, they believed that everything they put in their tomb will go with them to the afterlife. That's why it was so important for them to put a lot of things inside their tomb, because they actually believed they will have everything once they reach heaven because they were with them in their tomb. And that's why it was very important for no one else to enter the tomb, so they will not take away their things. How do you think he will protect his tomb after he was buried inside it? So, if he's already dead, how is he going to protect his new house? What do you think they will do? Okay, all of these are questions that we are going to be seeing in the reading. Okay, first, before we start with the reading, I'm going to give you the video. Okay? There. Okay, as you can see, they were giving you images of ancient Egyptian tombs, and they were giving you an insight of what they have been finding inside the tombs. The coffins that were made with gold, the statues, how the pharaohs were set inside as mummies. They gave you everything, okay? So now we're going to start doing the reading. For this, I am going to put the audio, and you are going to follow by reading, okay? So follow the reading while it is going on.
Curse of the Ancient Tomb. The year was 610 BCE. The great pharaoh Anasis II was preparing himself for the afterlife. He believed he needed to place everything he owned inside of his tomb so he could enjoy it after his death. Anasis had insisted his tomb be grander than any pharaohs before him. Every inch of the tomb was covered in gold and diamonds. His sarcophagus was built of pure gold and lined with silk, a luxurious coffin fit for the pharaoh. The tomb was a treasure trove of all the finest fabrics and artwork. He even had his pets mummified so they can join him in the afterlife. Anasis was obsessed with his tomb and invested most of the nation's money into building it. Just before he died, Anasis placed a curse upon his tomb. May he who dares to trespass here spend his numbered days in fear. For hundreds of years after his death, no one even considered looking for the tomb because they knew the curse was a serious threat. Other tombs were found, and other curses came true, but Anasis rested happily, undisturbed in his tomb.
Okay, so here you have two things. There is a curse in the tomb, okay? If you open it, if you go inside, you will be cursed. And second, as you can see, pharaohs could spend the money of a country in their tombs, okay? Which is what many of them did. That's why you have such big pyramids in Egypt, okay? Now, I want you to copy this question on spare pages and answer it, okay? So remember, copy this question in your spare pages and answer it. Now, let's go on. Other courses. There has been a lot of speaking about other courses in tombs. Like, for example, the ones who found the tomb of the child emperor, they said that not one of them lived more than 1 week. Okay, so the pharaoh of tombs are known to have a lot of curses. Let's continue reading. It's very interesting, isn't it? There we are. Perfect. Now I will put play.
Flash forward to the present year. Lapis and her brother Seb were expert tomb raiders. They had
What's a tomb raider? They are people who spend their whole life finding and taking things out of tombs, okay? So they go to Egypt and they find the most important tombs and they take away with the treasure.
Successfully stolen from dozens of tombs and had made millions of Egyptian pounds. But they were greedy for more. They had heard the legend of Anasis and spent years researching the construction of the tomb until they found his very resting spot. Even though they had been warned that it was protected by the most powerful curse of any pharaoh, they entered anyway. It was filled with more riches than they could have imagined, and they wanted them all. They snapped pictures of the curse etched in the tomb in hieroglyphics. They laughed at the idea of an ancient curse as they filled their bags with diamonds and artifacts. That night, as they were falling asleep, they heard a noise. Lapis got up to see what it was and screamed in horror. The ground was covered in thousands of beetles. They were moving together, flowing like the Nile. The beetles descended her walls and crawled across her bed. She tried to bat them away, but they crawled on her for hours before simply disappearing all at once.
Dun 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 dun. Okay, so Lapis and Seth were tomb raiders, which means they stole from the tombs, okay? Now, what's happening? Here, you have more questions, okay? So, you have 2 questions which you have to copy on the spare pages and answer. Now, let's see what happens with Lapis and Seth. Okay, let me there and I will let it go.
The next night, Lapis and Seb were on edge. They stayed up late, trying to avoid another incident, but soon they heard a noise again. This time, it was louder than just scratching feet. It was a growl. Three growls, in fact. A dog came bounding through the door and ran straight for them. This was no ordinary dog. It had 3 heads, each with a mouth full of sharp teeth. The dog, who they knew from Greek myths as Cerberus, was snarling at them hungrily, jumping dangerously close to them. This lasted for hours until he finally vanished, just as quickly as he had entered. This torture continued, night after night. Lapis and Seb couldn't sleep in fear of what would appear next. Anasis's curse rang through their minds. May he who dares to trespass here spend his numbered days in fear. They tried to return all the items to the tomb, but it was no use. The curse had come true, and there was no turning back.
And that is the end. So, it has been known that the curses of the pharaohs have taken hold of many people because they entered their tombs and stole their treasures. Okay, so that's the end of this, and you have the last questions, okay? Copy them, please, and answer them on your spare pages. Now, it's very important for you not to forget your grammar check, okay? In this case, we use WH questions to gather information. What, where, who. Read the information from the story and then write WH questions. This is the answer. The year was 610 BEC, before our current era. So, what's the question? You have to write the complete question, okay? So, be careful with your auxiliary verbs. Now that we have finished, I need you to make a comic summary of the story, okay? A very nice, colorful, beautiful as yourself summary of the story. You are going to make an 8-frame comic summary, okay? Do your best, make it great, and have a great day. See you next video. Bye!